Everybody, welcome. We are in session 0 of a brand new game that we've never played. It's been around for a long time, but we've never played it. So we're going to give it a try. So we're going to have a good time playing Apocalypse World. This is pretty much an 18 plus game. I know that we tend to be a little more PG-13. We'll see how that goes, but I'm just letting you know ahead of time if you might run into some situations that you probably are not liking. We'll see.
Please pre-clutch those pearls.
That may be offensive to some viewers.
Yeah, we're not like overly offensive people or doing stuff just to be offensive for laughs. But we also, if situation happens, the situation happens. So today the game is being run by Erik of all people. It's the first time Erik's run a game on the stream.
It is. I'm nervous.
YouTube. So yeah, what's that?
Oh, it's Erik of all people?
Yeah, Erik of all people.
Of all people.
Yeah. He's never had an interest really of running the game before. So
yeah, I think yes.
I don't think so.
Always kind of been like, hey, I'll do it.
I am not nearly as experienced as Alan at DMing. This is my second time running Apocalypse World, and only my third or fourth game actually getting off the ground with a group in all systems.
Well, to be fair, you can do stuff over and over again. If you do it crappy, it's not making it any better. So but don't put my experience, against yours. You might.
Although there's also the thing where they say, was it 2,000 hours of anything and you're an expert, basically?
Yeah, I don't know.
Just got to keep going.
We have 112 videos, so multiply that times however many hours.
2 to 3x.
I don't know that. We still have to do a lot more videos.
Plus what you cut out too.
When I hit 10,000 hours, do I become a pro DM? Is that what it is? I think so. Is that the line? Okay.
Yes.
Well, I got some time.
We're almost there.
So anyway, before we get started, and because the way things are, please like and subscribe. We'll be doing session 0 today. The idea is that Erik's going to be talking about how the game is run in general, and then he's going to start us out with a scenario. So I will make sure I put chapter markers. So if you already know everything about Apocalypse World and you just want to watch us create havoc, you can jump to that position below. So I'll put it down there. Other than that, Erik, have fun. Let's TPKs are always on the table here. We know that happens. So go for it.
Don't I know it?
Session 0. Let's do it.
Okay. Well, as Alan said, the game we are going to be playing tonight is called Apocalypse World. It is the first game I ever ran. It is an interesting modern system that inspired a bunch of different Powered by the Apocalypse games. These include Dungeon World and even Blades in the Dark, which has gained some popularity. But Apocalypse World is what started the whole thing. In Apocalypse World, our characters have 5 stats. They aren't the strength and dex and constitution that you would be used to. The stats here are cool, hard, hot, sharp, and weird. And judging by your character selections, we will be getting weird with this one. So,
well, most of us, some of us.
In Apocalypse World, in the rules as written, Apocalypse World, again by D. Vincent Baker and Maggie Baker. In the book, the apocalypse happened about 50 years ago. The oldest people alive, the oldest surviving humans, have childhood memories of what happened. In my Apocalypse World,
me?
Half of us.
I don't believe your characters are elders in this community. Elders will be those who remember the apocalypse.
Know how old some of them are.
So, in my Apocalypse World, AI has taken over the Earth. Ooh. They rule the land with drones, autonomous robots that act in swarms, controlling most of the United States, where we will start. Everything that we are unable to protect is owned by the drones. It is considered the Dronelands. Their autonomous construction has sprawled across the West Coast. It encroaches further and further on the natural world. The unhuman drone architecture, printed, constructed, entirely unmanned. Swarms of repo drones dot the sky, stealing what little useful resources are left. the signals produced by old world technology are now entirely the domain of the drones. The botnet, what is left of the human internet, is a toxic maelstrom of data, of drone communications, and the ghosts of media oversaturation of the old world.
I was going to say,
right
if you're on
now.
Twitter now, it's pretty much a toxic.
Not so far off.
No, yeah.
So you're on the right path there.
Hey, we named the channel correctly.
Yeah.
Those who are exposed to the botnet are driven mad. And so humanity has abandoned all devices that produce signal. Electricity is revered and feared as close to the drones, and anything that produces signal, anything capable of connecting to wireless internet, anything that broadcasts even a radio signal is considered taboo, as all signals can be heard by the drones. By using signal devices.
Ever.
What'd you say?
Said no bars. That's what you're saying. No bars ever.
No bars. Humanity has been forced to abandon higher level computers, wireless devices. They've returned to wired technology.
Let me switch to airport mode here. Airplane mode right now. Okay, we're good.
In our hardhold, the village of Greenhill, I had it written Earth Hill in my notes, but Greenhill happens every time. So it is Greenhill now.
All right. We've just had a name change.
Zone.
We can't announce that on the internet, unfortunately, so no one knows about it.
So the village of Greenhill owes its survival to a system known as the Wire, a system of traps as giant bug zappers to attract and destroy swarms of bite bots, a plague of nanite swarms that take bite by voxel bite out of recyclable materials, leaving steel, aluminum, bug-eaten, destroying everything outside the wire. In here, our hardhold survives on subsistence farming, on solar electricity to power the basic necessities and the wire that protects us. And that brings us to your characters. You are residents of Greenhill. You live under the rule of the elder brothers Noah and Charles, who have built this hill into a hardhold for humanity. A rare safe haven against the drones. And we will go ahead and begin character creation. So I sent out some emails about some of the initial questions, but we'll go ahead and, well, does anybody think they've got most of their character made up and would like to explain who they are and what they do? And we will get into stuff like stats and your specific moves.
Mm-hmm. The only thing I did was if you download the PDF from the website for the game, there's a free PDF they send out, which gives you blocks of your different types of characters you can play. And on that, they have there's a few options. I have filled those out for my character, I think. But beyond that, that's as far as I've gone. So we can start with me if you want. And we can
Sure. Let's go ahead and start with our angel, Fingers. Now, the angel is the healer of Apocalypse World. They possess a rare power to heal others and can even heal with a touch. As we see, Angel Fingers has picked Healing Touch and Professional Compassion as their special moves. Now, these are moves that are specific to your playbook. They're the type of stuff that you can do, but nobody else can.
Playbooks are like the class system.
Yes.
Okay. Yep.
So yeah, Alan has picked a set of stats. Instead of buying with points, you just select one of the stats from your book. It looks like as the angel, he starts with 2 sharp. The stat spread is pretty low in Apocalypse World. You will rarely add more than 2 or 3 to a die roll of 2d6. Looks like he has -1 to cool. That's the sort of calm, dexterous, thoughtful, reactive stat.
That just comes from high school.
And a 1 in hard, which is good for our group of survivors here. Those hard is used in moves like going aggro when you initiate an aggressive situation with somebody, or the battle moves when you're in battle, exchanging harm. And we can get into those moves when we get into a fight. So could you tell us, Alan, a little bit about what Fingers looks like?
Fingers as
what kind of person are they?
Yeah, Fingers is just like a black, moppy, hairy. He's a younger man. He's always got a little bit of a smile about him. He exists in this world with the knowledge that we are all doomed, and because of that, any day that you get is a gift, and it's a blessing. In the fact that he likes people to suffer, and being here one more day to suffer is just good for the culture. So he heals people not because he wants to, because he has good graces or anything like that, not because he wants to be a good person, but he just wants you to live through it with him one more day. So that's kind of like my background. We'll see how that plays out. It could be disastrous.
No, it sounds cool.
Find out.
I will say Greenhill is a city is a village of about 500 to 600 people. So any death in your population is felt very hard. So despite your weirdness, Charles and Noah keep you around because you're just so good at keeping people alive, whatever the reason. So, moving on to gear and barter, the Angel doesn't have a ton of choices in gear. Their main thing is the Angel Kit. They carry a stock of medical supplies, chill stabs, bandages, narco patches, all that good stuff to keep people alive and to keep blood pumping. Looking at the playbook moves, again, Fingers has chosen professional compassion, allowing them to roll with sharp instead of history when they help someone. We'll get into history after character creation. It is a stat that governs when you help or hinder another player, and so we'll get to that. It's a really cool system. But the second playbook move that Fingers has taken is Healing Touch, which is I am so excited. Without an Angel Kit, you have the ability to heal a person you touch, but you have to open your brain to the psychic maelstrom. You will be exposed to the psychic effects of the botnet as you tap into the power of the old internet.
Yes.
You
I love that.
better
I thought
hope
that was so cool.
Don't miss.
That's why they call him Fingers. He reaches out.
That is a powerful ability. All right, that's Fingers. Very cool, very creepy. I like that. Let's move on to who.
Who?
Who? Indeed. Who's a
Who
child
is-
thing? Go ahead.
The child thing is an expansion. It's part of the expansion content. It's an additional playbook. I personally have never played with the child thing or any of the expansion characters, so this will be very interesting. Why don't you explain what who is all about?
I'm just so happy that you've never played with the child thing. I'm just saying that I think everyone at the table is happy that that's never happened.
You almost made him spit his soda out, spit take style.
The child thing in Apocalypse World is essentially the generation that is adapting to the weirdness of the apocalypse.
We just became NC-17.
Yeah, we just say
Oh, man.
Who is very much a creature of the weirdness.
She
of Apocalypse
totally
World.
is. She comes and goes as she pleases. Ellen permitting. No, Ellen not permitting.
Okay.
She is. She always wants to be entertained. She's a little hungry. She has stars in her eyes. Catch her or she goes Houdini, if you will. But yeah, so she's looks pretty. She's pretty dirty, and she looks like maybe it's kind of like your classic street urchin, I guess. But you might see her 1 minute over there, and then the next minute you'll notice she's up the street. How the heck did that happen? She's a little weird. Maybe a lot weird.
You probably have a high weird level.
She does have a +2 on the weird scale.
Oh, yeah.
I have -1 on the weird.
If you zoom in on the token, she's got kind of a spooky face, and I think it was pretty appropriate. And she's also showing off some cleavage, so she's got some sexy appeal, I guess.
If you like it dirty.
Yeah.
And weird.
Well, I'll make sure when I do the edit that we actually pop the token up. So
Cool.
for everybody.
Sounds good.
All right. As the child thing who gets very powerful weird abilities, she has access to a den, which we'll see in a moment when we get started. But interestingly, her den has crooked, interconnected tunnels and boltways that provide ways into everybody's spaces. Whether that is underground. Likely underground, probably not interdimensional. Hope
Probably not.
It gets weird in there. But regardless, you are not a resident, not an officially recognized resident of Greenhill. However, Charles and Noah are unable to force you to leave because they can't find how you get in.
And I'm not mean.
She just
per
shows
se.
up.
I'm not mean. Yeah.
How old is your character? Because I looked
We don't know.
You don't know. That's fair enough. Fair enough. It's hard to tell from your token. So
It's hard to. She's hard to tell.
The child thing also views the world of Apocalypse World different from other humans. They view it as wolves and the hunted. She sees herself as
accurate.
hunted by the wolves of the Maelstrom, which are a looming threat that only the child thing really has a good grasp of. And we will reveal that as we
Pay
play.
attention, everyone. There's some wolves out there.
All right, so that's who. Let's move on to Miguel, our savvy head.
Okay. Now, I hope that you will permit this, but one of the workspace options was a controlled growing environment.
Yes.
What are you growing?
Miguel is a short, wiry individual with dark hair, dark eyes, and he wears a soiled, tattered remains of what might have been once a lab coat. He has a plaid flannel shirt underneath, and his face is slightly marked from wearing a respirator. He also goes around most of the time with a little light strapped around his forehead. Miguel grows all manner of fungi. Mycology is him. He grows a wide variety of molds, mushrooms, bracket fungi, etc., for purposes varying from food and medicine to fuel and hallucinogens.
Nice.
He has
What do you-
set up some.
what do you do with your strap on with those fungi? I don't want to know. Maybe don't answer that. I take it back.
He has set up some interesting apparatus in which to grow his broods, hence his technical prowess. He is always on the lookout for some strange stuff to feed his fungi, from decaying vegetation and corroded metal to feces and degraded polymers. Anything is worth trying. He's even devised machinery to keep some of his fungi in constant motion or to make different sounds to stimulate growth. For production of chemicals such as antibiotics, he tinkers and figures it out. In his workspace, there are several terrariums full of various and sundry materials in various states of decay, with odors varying from sweet and acrid to disgusting and pungent. There are different kinds of mechanisms emitting low-frequency sounds or music. There are machines that keep a small light source or an entire container in constant motion, whatever it takes to keep that particular specimen in optimum growing conditions. The whole workspace is dimly lit and smells somewhat musty, but not overpoweringly odoriferous, which is surprising considering the variety of molds growing in some of the very unusual substrates there. He has a kind of workbench where he experiments with some extracts he produces, some highly nutritious, some with potent medicinal properties, some are deadly poison, and some are used in expanding consciousness. There are several shelves with bottles and vials of extracts, all of them clearly marked with labels summarizing their properties and effects. He has another space in a corner where he tinkers with things more or less as a hobby. He gets a bit of a thrill out of old contraptions and oddities, feeding him some insight, particularly when he's under the influence of one of his extracts. A particular favorite is a type of puffball, and he collects the spores, and when inhaled, they start to grow in the sinuses. The fungus cannot survive in living tissue, but the mycelia grow for a brief time and excrete a mind-altering substance. The after effects are stuffed-nosed, watery eyes, and other cold and allergy-like symptoms.
I say that for our world, we call a puffball the equivalent to a dime bag.
Yeah.
Dude, can you hit me over the puffball?
Hey, Miguel, I need another puffball. I'm all through my last one.
Oh, yeah.
The first one's free.
I've tried many of his things. They're very good at this.
Puffball spores. I like it. All right. Now the Savvy Head gets a couple of moves. So we'll go ahead and make some of those choices. I see for our gear, you carry a hunting rifle and a knife to protect yourself.
And a strap on.
And the strap on.
He's strapped with the knife and the strapped on light.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have light. Does he need a flashlight on his gear?
You ever seen the movie Seven?
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, I'll give him a flashlight.
Yeah, flashlight. He needs a flashlight. That's cool.
Yeah. The workspace is dimly lit, so that's why he has the little headlight.
As one of the makers in Greenhill here, you are well acquainted with a man named Lightbulb Larry. He alone practices the ancient art of making light bulbs. So without him, your headlamp and much of the lighting, as well as the wire around Greenhill, would not be possible. Mm-hmm. So that is our gear. We'll take a look at our stats. So when creating an Apocalypse World character, we just simply choose from one of the 4 sets. So you will always have +2 to weird. That's your primary stat. Mm-hmm. However, for the other ones, we can choose -1 cool and +1 hot and sharp. We could choose -1 hard, -1 hot, but +2 sharp. Sharp will give you benefits to things like reading a person or a situation, which can be compared to perception and insight checks in other games. We could do +1 hard, +1 sharp, +1 cool, +1 sharp, and -1 hard. You'd be physically weaker, but better at the do something under fire. You'd be better in a pinch, faster, technically.
Yeah, why don't
you could go with cool and hard and take a -1 to your hot.
What is hot again? Remind me.
The hot skill measures your interpersonal abilities.
Yeah, it's like manipulating people, right?
Yes, yeah. Hot is used for the basic move seduce or manipulate somebody, which is whenever you want something from somebody and you try to talk them into giving it to you. As well. Yes. All right, so we're going to go with. Did you change those or did I? Okay.
I did.
Okay, so we'll go with you're a little cooler, you're a little tougher, but you're not quite as hot, which is okay. We do have some very alluring characters.
You smell kind of funny.
You smell a little funky. You're a little dirty, and that respirator face isn't doing you any favors.
We all knew that kid in high school.
And the sneezing of the after effects from my favorite drug.
All right. And and we'll go ahead and we have to select 2 playbook moves to start with. As our characters advance, you can choose more playbook moves, or even in the future take a move from another playbook. But for now, we're going to have to stick to 2.
Okay.
So the Savvy Head, I know you were interested in perhaps it could be Reality's Fraying Edge would allow you to do augury, which is a weird move that allows you to ask me questions as the master of ceremonies, and I have to answer them honestly.
Right.
In a game like this, with so much improv from my end, if something on your book says I have to answer it honestly, if I don't know, I make it up, and that becomes canon.
Nice.
Right.
So as we learn things about the world, one of the main goals of Apocalypse World is always play to find out what happens. And so Reality's Fraying Edge is a fun way to do that. There's also Things Speak that I think would be like the if you wanted to go with that one.
With that one, yeah.
Things Speak is very fun. It allows you to touch an item and learn things about it.
Right.
And then, so for the other ones...
I like that coupled with the fungus hallucinogen thing.
That's very cool. And then did you have an idea for what your second playbook move would be?
I thought I would go with the Reality's Fraying Edge and the playbook move, or in the Things Speak.
Okay. Very strange. I like that. Augury. Okay. By default, nobody has access to this one, but as using Reality's Fraying Edge, when you're in your mycelium workspace, you'll roll plus weird, and if you do well, you can choose to reach through the botnet to connect to something or someone connected to it, or isolate and protect somebody from the maelstrom, or isolate and contain a fragment of the maelstrom, which could get interesting. Insert information or open a window. So you can do strange things with the psychic maelstrom, which is the sort of swirling mess of energy that contains and maybe was created by the internet.
So you could he could protect me if I'm trying to heal somebody, and it opens the maelstrom.
Yeah,
to my brain. Nice.
Yeah, he could isolate. You could use augury to isolate the angel from the effects of using the healing fingers.
No doubt via a puffball.
No doubt.
Here.
But yeah, cool. So we've got a very tripped out mushroom mancer almost in Miguel.
Mushroom mancer. I love that.
Mushroom mancer.
There we go.
It's magical, these creatures. Very interesting to have a biologic network in a world dominated by an artificial one.
Right. So
all right, so let's move.
Okay.
That's pretty common for
Mushroom Druid. I like that. All right. Well, let's move on to our battle babe, Pierce.
Actually, can I go later?
Sure. We'll talk about the 2 characters in the arcade, the social video game space in the south end of town. First, let's talk about Smokey. The Mater D. The playbook, the Mater D, is a character who owns an establishment. They provide something to the community. And in Smokey's case, that what they provide is a space to gather, a space to compete, and a heck of a lot of 90s neon nostalgia. So, Cameron, why don't you tell us a little bit about Smokey and his establishment?
Sure. So Smokey is a pretty tall, slender man. He's very well dressed, but wears kind of clothes from the old world, like pre-cyber times before the fall.
like 9 Inch Nails t-shirts and stuff.
No, like pinstriped suits, like way back.
Oh, way back.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's all well to do. He's very sharp features, cool eyes, and his very precise hands. You'll notice one of his fingers on his right hand has been severed off and replaced by an ornate mechanical finger. That is part of his gear kit.
It's kind of nice because you can literally give someone the finger.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be part of. He's going to hide his wicked blade, which is just going to be like a razor sharp blade that he can use, and it also has a jewel which can provide him with a short burst of armor in a moment of need. But,
that's cool.
Yeah, and then he runs the arcade in the middle of town. It's the place to be seen, that's for sure. There's a big VR kind of fight pit where people plug in and all the fights are displayed on the screens around. It's where you come to relax and maybe get amped up if you want to get involved in that, or you can go back to the drinks and kind of the more quieter areas of the bar where maybe you can barter for information. Because that is Smokey's true specialty is he knows where the true value, but that both humans and the machines care about is information. So people come to him to find that out.
And Smokey, I will say that the elders of this town are divided on whether or not the arcade should be allowed to operate so much complicated machinery, so much
I think
tech.
they send some sort of like auditor to like make sure there's no live signal that could go out, and we kind of have to deal with that on a regular basis.
It's all hardwired, not wireless.
It is all hardwired.
And there's cables kind of everywhere in this establishment. Like it's real like rugged server room kind of slapdash, but there's lots of individuals constantly working on stuff in the rafters and all that.
It may be the most cyber place in this town. Definitely the coolest. Definitely where everybody wants to be.
I love Lightbulb Larry. I do a lot of business with him.
Lightbulb Larry in the land of the lounge lizards.
Lightbulb Larry can have anything he wants because he keeps the lights on.
All right.
And the zapper going.
Yes. So the Maestro D is
Maestro.
Yeah, it's in Apocalypse World, rules as written. The finer points of language are starting to be forgotten, and nobody knows the difference between a Maestro and a Maitre D. So they have become the Maestro D. Smokey has taken +1 hard and +1 sharp on top of their +2 hot primary stat.
Yeah. Real persuasive.
And tough when it counts.
Charming individual, yeah.
Smokey has taken the Maestro D moves Everybody Eats, Even That Guy, which allows him to ask a question about someone important. He'll get to ask me questions about this person if he succeeds well on a hot roll. Because as the one who deals in drink and entertainment, he knows what everybody here wants and how they get it. Smokey knows everything that goes on in the arcade. And then he's also taken You Call This Hot, which will allow using +hot instead of +cool for doing things under fire, which is a very common basic move that will happen whenever you try to act with something else, making that difficult. Very commonly stuff like being noticed, being hit, being eaten. If you're trying to do something and not be those things, you're typically acting under fire. Smokey does not get a ton of stuff on his person other than that knife and that piece of fashion worth 1 armor. But the establishment is a huge boon.
I get a lot of other bonuses for having an establishment, but there's also some complications. There may be people interested in the goings on that we might have to deal with as a party. I do have access to a gang. Well, actually, what I'm choosing is a bouncer who knows his biz, which I'm going to. How does that interact? Like,
That's me.
right. So how does that? There's stats associated with that too.
This will be your bouncer. I'm saying that
My bouncer though.
you can do that. You could have another bouncer. I mean,
How about this? I'll do secrecy, passwords, codes, and signals for like the under kind of the back end of my business. We'll have that. People know how to say the right things to get what they want.
I mean, there were multiple bouncers in Roadhouse, so okay.
But only
then
one
I'll
real
do-
bouncer.
Only one real.
And then since Pierce is the bouncer, I'll do a warren of dead ends, hideaways, and bolt holes. So yeah, so there's some secret tunnels that maybe
That's how I get in.
Yeah, maybe our child thing and Hocus have something to do with those.
oh dear. Okay, so sorry, what were the things you took for your establishment real quick as I'm stalling for time?
Yes, the secrecy, passwords, codes, and signals, and a warren of dead ends, hideaways, and bolt holes. We'll do that. And then regulars, do you have NPCs that you want to include in the names, or?
I have some NPCs. If you have any NPCs you want to add as regulars to your bar, the book says you get to do that.
I'm cool with you dictating those as we go, and I will roll with it.
Okay. So yeah, as the Maestro D, you got choices of security, how you protect the place, what you have to offer. And yeah, there are plenty of people in the city who come down to enjoy your establishment. Traders come in and out. You are on the main trade route. There are very few caravans that come in and out of Greenhill from other populated settlements, but they require a lot of security against the drones. And so traders are few and far between here. All right. Next up, we have the Hocus Trout, who has taken up residence at the Arcade with their followers. So Zach, could you tell us a little bit about what Trout looks like and what they do for the Arcade?
Yeah, so despite what the art looks like, he is a deeply, deeply upsetting person to look at. He has very, very greasy, black, long hair. He's bony and like long-limbed in all the worst ways, and just like deeply upsetting looking, like I said, except for he has these deeply mesmerizing eyes. The way that the art looks is how his followers see him. He has these eyes that, if you know, the eyes look like Satoru Gojo's eyes from Jujutsu Kaisen. And it's what brings people in to him. And he has a group of followers that, populate this residency here or this business, and he's kind of trying to run it like the 90s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, those that cult that is in that movie, where it's just like they're very invested in bringing everyone in, but they rely on him to a degree where he hates them. They cannot exist without him, and he deeply hates them for that.
They literally have a negative tag of desperation, where if in hard times they won't leave Trout, they'll just become very desperate.
Yeah, they need him to survive, and he resents them at this point. But he's trying to bring in more people to this business, and his followers are very good at bringing in more disenfranchised people.
The cult is always
So-
growing.
Yeah, the cult
Yeah.
is always growing.
The Hocus is one of the most charismatic playbooks in Apocalypse World. Their main mechanic is the followers. In Trout's case, I'm seeing his followers as somewhere between the Mutant Ninja Turtles Foot Clan and the Fanatics of Gabe Newell, who have created a cult of personality around a what they think is an absolute tech genius. And so at the beginning of the session, we'll roll to determine whether Trout and his followers are in fortune or want. And that will determine whether those followers are something Trout can take advantage of or if it's a hindrance as they hang on him for their every need. The Hocus doesn't get a lot in the way of gear and crap. They rely on their words and sometimes their piercing blue eyes. They've got Trout has taken a frenzy as one of his Hocus moves. This will happen anytime that Trout speaks truth to a mob. If he does well on that weird roll, he can make those people do things for him. He can send away a
insurrection.
mob or start an insurrection. On a miss, the mob could become unruly, and then we would have to open up the gang combat rules. We'll have to go ahead and say it's a medium gang of very angry people, and then we'd go from there. I hope you do that. I think that'd be hilarious. But for your sake, you better hope you keep those followers in line.
We're gonna go from Greenhill to Trout Hill.
The village elders, Noah and Charles, are especially irritated by you and your loud followers who have taken up residence in the Arcade and the homes around it.
Please tell me that this gang fight takes place in the form of a musical.
Oh yeah, everybody's snapping their fingers. It's a real big to do.
You will see that I've attempted to draw for this game, which is not something I'm really that capable of doing. Singing it, maybe pushing it.
Yeah.
But that is Trout and his followers. Do the followers of Trout have a name for themselves, Zach?
I was trying to think about it because I wanted to kind of maybe collab with Cameron because they use your business as their hideout,
Yes.
as their their place to go. So what? And I'm sorry, remind me, what was the name of your business?
The Arcade.
The Arcade.
It's an awesome
Yeah,
name. Did
I
you come
think
up with that
we-
name? Because that's an awesome name.
Eric helped me out.
It was a
Brainstorms.
collaboration.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think I want to maybe we should workshop a couple names off of each other because we're working together here.
Cagers?
The Trout Cageman.
Ooh,
Cageman? Nice.
Yeah,
Trout heads. Fish heads.
Trout heads.
Fish heads.
Fish heads.
I like fish heads.
Yeah.
Fish
yeah.
head's not bad.
Yo,
I like fish heads.
you want to be a fish head? You want to be a Bowery boy?
I think the fish heads are some of the workers putting together all the lights and effects in the
Yeah.
space.
They're always skateboarding around and having
Yeah.
fun.
I see
I've
it
seen
as
this movie. I've seen this movie.
Well,
It's
well,
hackers, right?
I see it. Well, I see it like people called them fish heads almost to be derogatory, and then they took that name and made it their own to empower themselves. Because people would be
Ooh,
like,
I
"You're just
like
a fish
that.
head.
That's good.
You're just a fish head."
Also-
You're
Yeah.
like, "That's right. I'm a
Also
fish head."
semi-appropriate too. If you're fishing wires through walls or up and around stuff all the
Yeah.
time, that's what you do.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
Yeah, I like that. Let's do the fish heads.
And if you want
They must
somebody,
have a
I was gonna
they
say,
must
if you
have a
want somebody to
supply
go,
of,
you want someone to go spy for you or something. You tell them go toss a line. Go toss a line.
Yeah.
Toss a
Gotta
line.
use all
Toss a
kinds of-
line,
gotta
yeah.
Gotta use all kinds of language
Fishing-
around
fishing
fishing and get a net.
Yeah. Oh, and obviously, Trout is wearing a black leather duster, obviously, as he should be.
It's
Of
required.
course.
Yep.
You can't be a post-apocalypse cult leader without one.
Do you have a wide brim hat as well?
No, like he's not that fashionable. He's not
quit.
doing the. He's just. He's just very greasy, very gaunt, and a big old duster.
That's cool. I like the look.
That was me in the 90s.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Hey, if it's a big enough trench coat, who might try to sneak around behind / under it?
Hide in the trench coat. Oh boy.
Hide in the trench coat.
Oh yeah, it's very big. It's oversized. It's too big for him.
He's actually,
that's
the thing is,
happening then.
what we eventually find out is that Trout is actually two people standing on top of each other. You know, he always walks like this. He's always thin and he's walking around. We find out that
You have just a weird cadence in your steps. It's just very odd.
Well, if I need to open up the advanced fuckery chapter to create a custom move to hide in a trench coat, I will. But
to be fair,
until we get there.
one of the playbook moves I did choose is fucking whack nut. So
Yes. So
Is that what they do inside the coat?
yeah.
So Trout has taken just a straight up boost to his primary stat, weird. He gets a +3 to weird. So that frenzy
Incredibly
roll
weird.
is going to be very powerful. Opening his brain to the psychic maelstrom will work more often than it will fail. But by getting into all that weirdness, you are inheriting risk.
Yep.
So yeah, Trout's going to get strange.
I'll
As
save
any
you.
cult leader is ready to do.
I'll save you. You're no getting out of this one. If you need to be here one more day to suffer.
All right, and that brings us to maybe the character best at causing suffering, Pierce, the village guardian, the battle babe playbook. Battle babe here being the coolest fighter, not necessarily the most buxom of babes, because Pierce is a cold-hearted killer man. Tell us about Pierce and how he does what he does.
Gonna be a babe though, right?
Well, yeah.
All right.
So
Pierce delicious.
It's really cool to watch Pierce kill things.
Pierce is a like a middle-aged, probably late 30s.
Sorry, I'll be right back.
We'll take wait a second then. That's fine. Hey everybody, we just lost Zach. He has to take off to take care of some family emergency stuff, which is very important. Family first all the time. So we're going to continue on with doing a session 0, and then we will do session 1 next time. I'll put a marker or something at the beginning of the video, a little blurbs to let people know. But yeah, so we're going to skip the session 1 stuff tonight, and then next week we'll pick up with starting the adventure. So I think we are on to Pierce. Is that right? Is that right, Erik?
Yeah. Lastly, we'll introduce Pierce, our battle babe, the coolest cat, the baddest ass of Greenhill, the armored defender. So, Mike, why don't you tell us a little bit about Pierce and how he does the gruesome work that he does?
So Pierce is a middle-aged guy, late 30s, maybe early 40s, rugged, super lean, rather tall. Like the world has stripped away everything, but the completely bald, just like scar tissue kind of there, where he probably wasn't bald at one point, but
did he get his hair like ripped out in battle?
And just maybe little bite marks from. So he has basically ridden the wave of the nanobots kind of expanding their control. He like rode the wave out of the like mushroom cloud that was the apocalypse. It kind of like pushed that nano cloud out.
Not a mushroom cloud brought about by Graham's character, right?
Right. No.
The bite bots.
Yeah.
That the nanites that consume all recyclable material that they swarm.
He's literally been like got into the hard hold like just ahead of that, and as being older, he had has bought the different parts of the pre-apocalypse, fell apart, he found some got into a place and found some just super high tech, super high powered armor, like a body armor. It's kind of run on bioelectricity, any kind of things that go on with it.
Pre-war stuff that wasn't
pre-war.
connected to the internet because of hacking defense. It is a closed system, but it is quite high tech.
Yeah.
You stand out.
Yeah. He's obvious. Think Gambit. If you watch Wolverine and Deadpool,
Yeah.
looks kind of like that. Though he doesn't wear the cloak thing. No.
No
No cloaks.
No cloaks.
No capes.
He also carries a rather large and quiet pistol openly.
His name of the pistol. Shh.
It's
So it's not singing.
it's not.
He only takes it out when he's playing hardball.
Yeah, and then also on one of the arms of the armor is like a bulge that sticks out, and he is like a microfiber chain with a blade on the end that shoots out, and he whips that around, and he's
Hell yeah.
super deadly with that. So, and he's the bouncer for Smokey. Things don't go wrong in the hard hold, and if they or in the arcade, and they go wrong in the virtual part, but they don't spill out into the main part because Pierce doesn't, or Smokey doesn't want it to happen, so Pierce doesn't let it happen. People behave.
Pierce doesn't mess around.
Pierce doesn't mess around. Piercing blue eyes, where he gets his name. A lot of blue eyes, a lot of piercing eyes here.
We are in the interior of the former United States. A lot of blonde hair, blue eyes walking around.
It might have been blonde. You don't know. He has no hair.
A lot of many different people.
Highly hairless.
There's a lot of actually. If you look, I think there's a lot of us have dark hair or black hair.
Yeah.
Or
So
A lot of us do.
But he, like I said, he's older, so he's watched the world get weirder and weirder, and he's kind of weirded out by it. It's like,
I should ask, was Pierce born before launch day? Did he live in the old world?
You think, yeah, he probably did. He's probably, you said, yeah, he could be.
About 50 years ago?
Yeah. He was probably a young man in the military. And
well, if that would have been 50 years old, then you'd be like 70.
Yeah.
So maybe you were a kid back then.
yeah,
Or, maybe.
or young, like a
Depends
teen.
which military. It could be.
Lied about your
14.
age to get in. Cap America style.
I don't want to
the
make any
person-
speculation about the recruitment age in near apocalypse United States.
Yeah. So yeah, it's hard to tell because he has no hair, and he's like literally had a swarm of nanobots like biting into him. So he's like kind of hard to tell how old he is. But yeah, he doesn't say a whole lot. Kind of waits on Smokey to like hey, take care of this, and then it's taken care of.
You're like an NPC.
Kind of. This is just very, very just watching the world go by. Kind of.
Cameron literally has like he has like a swarm of NPCs running around with him.
Built a big map of conglomerates to direct and interfere
Probably
with.
Smokey's bodyguard, actually.
I keep Pierce close.
Do you have like a command word that you say when you want someone to kill from the kill? Like, do you look at him and you point and say command word?
Yeah, tell me what's my go word? What's
It's a good one.
Yeah, you have to think of a good a good command word. So as you look, you say that word,
and then Pierce just starts
snaps.
killing.
No fun here.
Rosebud.
Oh,
orange.
and
He's like orange.
so yeah, my battle moves are pure combat, pure combat.
All right.
As gear, we want to go into gear now.
Yeah, the gear of the Battle Babe is special. The Battle Babe, as a playbook, gets custom weapons. The handgun that Pierce carries is silenced and semi-auto. It loses the reload tag and it gains. It loses the loud tag as well. Those are negative tags of your gear that I get to leverage against you as the Master of Ceremonies. And then the hidden chain blade. I don't get to take that one away from you. As a hidden chain blade, you are always, as long as you picked it up that morning, you are always able to whip out this blade, this chain blade, which
As long as
is.
I have my armor on, I have it.
And as an area attacking weapon, you are able to attack a small gang with it. You can attack multiple targets. It's a little crazy.
Yep.
You must be at hand range, though, so you got to be in a scuffle with a lot of guys if you're going to
Yeah,
use that
inside
on
a crowded
multiple
bar.
dudes.
Yeah. That's
that tracks.
Be careful with that thing.
Unfortunately, after you kill him, I bring him back just so you can kill him again, because that's more suffering.
That's why he can do it. You bring him back, and it's like, okay, well, I can kill you. You won't stay dead, but I will kill you
Boy.
because he does 3 harm.
It's pretty big.
For reference, if you do 3 harm to an NPC, they are mortally wounded. They are getting worse if nobody can help them. Okay, we'll start with the stats. We'll move into moves, and then I'll explain your armor since you're unique for that.
Cool.
Yeah, so I have 3 cool, and I can my Battle Babe moves. Well, let's stick with stats. I took 0 hard, 1 hot, 1 sharp, and -1 on weird. Like I said, all this weird shit goes on around him. He's just like, I don't see it. He's just like,
You are a grounded person, which
Yeah.
very much helps to defend against the weirdness.
I'm picturing like every Marine sergeant ever depicted on TV. You know,
Share that with Smokey. Both of us kind of look at each other when weird shit goes on.
like,
However, if you're
Fans.
forced to interact with the weird, you are at more risk as somebody with a -1.
well, yeah, I know.
can't be good at everything, right?
Right, exactly. And everybody else is. So it's like,
Yeah, that's good.
well, Smokey's not, but so yeah.
Right. And the playbook moves you took, again, are purely for combat,
Surprise.
making yourself a very powerful hammer.
Well, yeah. Let's see. I took ice cold
what is that?
and merciless. So when I inflict harm, I inflict 1 more. And then, yeah,
Just straight up more damage.
Ooh.
And then ice cold. Whenever I go aggro, I use cool instead of hard.
Ooh.
Nice.
I knew you were gonna. When I saw the cool, I knew you were gonna have some way to circumvent that.
Also, when I go aggro on another player's character, I roll history.
That is your history
instead of
or
hard-
hex.
instead of hard. So yeah.
So going aggro is a basic move that you use when you use threats, a true threat of violence to get something you want. Think of it like an intimidation check, except one of the possibilities is they force your hand and suck it up. So if you do a go aggro roll, just remember that it only happens when you're fully ready to commit to that violence. Which I believe Pierce
feel
won't
that
have much trouble with.
Nope.
I have a
not
feeling
at
that's gonna be
all.
a short fuse. The rest of us are gonna be like, okay, here we go.
Well,
How about-
he's very disciplined. He doesn't go until Smokey says go.
Yeah, Smokey will tell Pierce to show particular individuals a little extra hospitality.
I think I literally
That's-
call Pierce NPC.
Yeah.
That's the name
Pierce,
I call.
I think our guest here needs to be shown some hospitality.
That's the go term.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, I love
All
it.
right.
So, but Pierce, I call your character NPC. Literally, that's how I refer to him.
Oh gosh.
Just because you always follow what
Oh man.
Smokey said.
Oh man. That's gonna get. Well, I wonder if it ticks Pierce off or not. I suppose we'll see.
Just
The
see
last
how
thing on
independent
the,
he really can
Cool
be.
for that.
The last thing I'll cover on the Battle Babe, we talked a lot about harm and stuff. We'll get into it when we roll our first harm rolls. But for reference, 3 harm brings your clock to 9 o'clock, which you get worse until then. 3 more harm from there, and life is untenable. You're dead. An NPC just dies. So being able to deal 3 harm will allow you to 0 to death anyone you want who's unarmored in 2 hits.
And then armor stops at
powerful
one of
ability.
those. Is that what it is? It's like a reduction.
Armor simply reduces the harm you take by 1. So Pierce is wearing heavy armor, that high-tech armor. It gives him 2 armor. However, it is very obviously a battle suit. You won't be fooling anybody that you're just there to talk.
You
Other
stay in the
characters-
van.
Yep.
Yeah. Other
Just to clarify,
characters.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
you mentioned that the harm is like a clock, so it was 12. Divided into 4 quarters, 3, 6, 9, 12. If he
It's
does 3
weird.
harm, if it was 3 harm, wouldn't it only move you up to 3?
Yeah,
Well, it works different for players.
it does. The clock is weird. There are actually 6 segments to the clock. The first segment
You're right.
is
You're right.
1
9
to
through
3.
12 are different.
The second one's 3 to 6. The
you were
third one
referring
is
to-
6 to 9. And then 9 to 10, 10 to 11, and 11 to 12 are
You're
the
referring to
second
the-
3.
NPCs
It's-
that weren't you?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. The
Missed that. Thanks.
Pierce is an
The-
NPC.
oh.
He's a PC, just called NPC.
I'll go over the clocks. They're a little bit weird. They're somewhat inspired by the apocalypse clock that ticks closer and closer to midnight every real world year. The thing you'll need to know about clocks is that after 9 o'clock, they get worse on their own and cannot be reversed, only stopped. We'll cover that, what it means for harm to people and for clocks for events and things later on. But yeah, those are our survivors. Those are our characters. We've got a very strange bunch with a lot of eclectic skills that keep Greenhill running the way it needs to. So now, would we like to take a little break for halftime before history, or would we like to just?
I think we're good to go. How's
I think
everybody?
we're good to go.
How do you guys all feel? I think we're good.
Unless you want to.
Yeah, I mean, it's your game, so you can do whatever you want.
Just needed a drink of water.
All right.
And we will begin with. So now we will go around the table one more time for history, shortened to HX or hex. You can use them interchangeably. It will be a stat that determines how well you know the person that you have that history with. So we will go around each character one more time. The way we set up our history will be different per playbook. And by the end of this, we should have some connections between all of our players. So let's, how about we start with, let's start with fingers again. Let's start at the top of our list here. So as the angel, your question that you need to answer is, so do you see the, do you have a copy of your?
I have a copy of it. Yep, and I see
Okay.
where it says under health, HX his health, right?
Yeah. Yeah. HX is short for history. It's odd. You can just call it hex if you'd like. Yeah, so go ahead and you have a choice to ask. You don't have to ask all of these, but your questions are that you will ask the other characters, which of you do I figure is doomed to self-destruction? I think as a doom and gloom type of guy, that'd be interesting to answer. Another is, which of you put a hand in when it mattered and helped me save a life? And which of you has been beside me all along and has seen everything I've seen?
Okay, so let's do that. So which one of you do I figure is doomed to self-destruction? I would probably say that as the healer, as the healer person, I think Pierce is doomed to self-destruction. He raises his weapon one too many times. He has had already faced on a full face the drones, the just eating away your flesh. I honestly, every morning I'm slightly surprised to see you.
And so for Pierce, you will have a -2 to your history rolls. This means you, Fingers, do not understand Pierce. You don't understand how Pierce survives. You don't understand Pierce's apparent lack of survival instinct and ability to survive anyway.
I'm saying that Alan writes -2 for his hex to Pierce.
Yes.
Okay. There's a spot in our character sheets
Yep,
for that.
I got it written down. All right, my next question is, which one of you put a hand in when it mattered? So, excuse me. I would say that it was probably going to be Smokey, right? I probably had something that happened to me in the past where I needed some resources. I turned to the arcade to get some help, and he gave me a helping hand. So I would say he's the one who I would say is the one who would be the one I would go to if something went down and I needed to get information from. Now he may have actually redirected me, to Trout or something like that, but it was sort of his influence, or Miguel, whatever. Yeah.
Or he just gave you a boat hole.
I orchestrate
Right?
the
It's like you're on the
completion of
run.
deals.
Hey, I have some place for you to hide.
All right. So what does that mean?
If
+2, I got an H.
So if Smokey helped you out, then go ahead and put them on your sheet as a +2 history.
Perfect.
It looks like the other characters we're kind of already doing it. We're kind of already collaborating it, but it looks like the way it technically goes is you ask the question, somebody else will volunteer to be that.
Oh, okay. Do you want to start again?
No, I think we've come up with some collaborative stuff here.
Right. So the last
Pierce
one,
already
which
agrees.
I'll do it that way then. I'm sorry I did it wrong. So I asked the question and somebody else
mistake.
kind of raises their hand. Is that how it works? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
so-
if nobody does, then we can talk about you.
So my
choosing.
last one is, which one of you has been beside me all along and has seen everything I've seen? So which one of you guys want to jump on board to that? Who wants to be the cohort?
I'll be the one that's just been there, surprisingly.
All right. So you're the one who's been with me the whole time. You've seen all the things I've seen. Scampering through that, you show up at the odd times when bad things happen. I'm not sure why you're there, but you seem to always been there. So now I put a +3 for me.
Oh, holy crap.
Yeah, nice. All right, cool.
And then
I put 1 for everybody else, right?
Yeah, for everybody else, you get a +1. As an angel, it's kind of your job to pay attention to people and how they're doing.
Okay, and avoiding the wide chain swings from Pierce.
Yep. It's always good to know whether or not Pierce has his chains out. Cool. Yeah. So you know who very deeply. The interesting thing is when history goes up or down. For example, if you were to learn more about who, it would be represented by an increase to your history, which has a max of +3. It would go back down to 0. You would mark an experience, and that would represent you learning about a new and unexplored layer of who.
So if I go to a +4 instead of being a 4, it recycles back to a
It
0.
resets, and you gain a point of experience from learning about somebody, and then you find it's like when you learn more about somebody and you discover that you have way more to learn.
Cool.
It's
Cool.
yeah, so you can get experience just simply from
Chat.
interaction
Good role
with
play.
people. Yeah. Cool. Speaking of which, let's go to who. The questions for the child thing are.
I am going to go around the table and ask everyone a question.
Oh yes, there is one question that who has to ask. You don't know what it means, but please answer as honestly as you think your character can.
All right, you could ask, just point to somebody and they'll answer.
Yes, exactly. All right, we're going to start with Pierce. He seems dangerous.
He seems.
No, he is dangerous.
Pierce, are you a wolf of the maelstrom?
No.
That's probably the right answer for you.
That seems appropriate. All right. Since you said no, I'm gonna. Well, should I wait until the end to say what I'm doing?
Sure, you can wait to the
Yeah.
end if you ask one.
I think I should.
Whatever you feel.
actually,
They
yeah,
say if they say no, you don't do anything yet.
Well, yeah, like I'll end up doing something for each of them, but I'll just write down what you said at first. All right. All right. Who do we got next? Let's go with Miguel. Miguel, are you a wolf of the maelstrom?
Not that I'm aware of.
Is that a
Put a +1.
Is that a you don't know?
That's an I don't know.
Yeah, that's
Put a
I don't know.
+1 on there.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not quite sure what a wolf of the maelstrom is.
All right, Miguel. Not that I'm aware of. Don't know. All right. Up next. Let's see. Got Smokey. Cameron. Are you a wolf of the maelstrom?
Absolutely not.
That is a no.
Go ahead and write -1.
And then last but not, well, actually, I'm gonna. Sorry. Yes. Fingers. Are you a wolf of the maelstrom?
Absolutely. And the maelstrom will take us all, consume us. But in the meantime, I'll keep you here if I can.
I'm gonna ask one more question, then I'll come back to the yes. Is that all right?
Do we want to assume? Do we want to assume that, or do you want to ask Zach the beginning of the game like next week?
Just shoot him a text right now. Are you a wolf of the mail?
No.
He's in the
He's-
I think
middle
my
of
answer
stuff.
should have been actually. I think my answer should have been actually. Let me think about that.
It's still
To be determined.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll take that under consideration there. Eric, do you want to answer for Zach, or shall I do that offline?
Let's just put it as an I don't know.
I don't know. Okay, that's fair. All right. So for Trout, are you a wolf of the maelstrom? I don't know. That's fair. Okay. So for nose, I will give myself a hex -1. If they say anything else that they don't know, that they'd rather not say anything, I'm getting a +1. So I got a +1 for a couple here. And then if you say yes, tell them what they look like under their disguise. That's me. I'm going to tell you what you look like under your disguise. You
Ooh, this is good.
have a you have a you've seen those like porcelain dolls, right?
Yes, yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. So you've got a sort of a almost motionless face underneath the weird muscles, whatever it is that's actually going on. You're sort of a plasticky looking porcelain face with the hint of metallic that actually glints underneath the like if you open your mouth or your nose or your eyes. If anybody can see past the disguise, they can see hints of metallic glinting out through there. You some sort of metal and plastic. Very very milky.
I'm a Barbie angel in a Barbie world.
And I have a -2 for you.
Interesting.
Porcelain, huh? And metal.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't know what that means, but
Creepy. Very
Porcelain
creepy.
smooth, but plastic. If
Yeah.
that makes sense. Sorry. Just using that as a descriptor. Very smooth. Under your disguise. All right, I have a hex -2 for you, which is funny because you got a hex +3 for me. So you
It
know
is
me.
interesting.
I don't know you.
It is interesting that you follow him around. He thinks he
know.
knows you.
I know. All right, that was cool. Thank you.
It is very interesting that this game creates one-sided dynamics where somebody knows more about somebody than they know about them. It can be interesting.
Yeah, that's exactly what just happened by far. That's a 5-point swing right there.
maybe I'm like a train wreck to you. Like you're constantly looking at the disaster. This is all the craziness that you think is going to happen to me. You just don't want to miss it.
Well, he mentioned in the beginning that I look at the world as like wolves and prey. So I probably think you're a wolf, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna keep my eyes on you all the time. And you probably see me keeping my eyes on you all the time, and you learn it all the time. That's probably what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all right. You keep your eye on me and the NPC will get you.
It is.
It's always the one who's coming from the side. Clever girl. I love this part. This is so cool.
That's interesting.
I really dig this part.
The session 0 mechanics for this game give a great start.
I am
to
definitely going to
drama.
steal this for other games we do. Not with stats and stuff, but the idea of maybe creating some interesting questions for people to ask and creating
This book is a fantastic resource. It's backwards in my video, but this book has been very interesting.
Yeah, I'm glad we played this game because it's interesting. I've been playing this game forever, and I'm playing role playing games forever. And every time we get a new game, it's some mechanic that's really cool. Yeah, it's neat. Thanks.
We'll hopefully. I'm still hoping I can show some examples by the end of the night. I think we're on pace for that. So that was history for who. Let's go to Miguel. You have some less weird questions about who you know. So
He's got some glassy eyes. I don't even know does he even know that you're even here?
he knows a lot of things, but pays attention to very little, depending on.
I grow
Depending on
shrooms
the
and I know
puffballs.
things.
Print that
Shrooms
on
tell me things, man.
that on a t-shirt.
I would have to say that shrooms are my favorite.
We're gonna have to put that on whoever said t-shirt. That's a great if we ever do a t-shirt for our channel for whatever reason, we'll literally say and I will say I grow shrooms and I know things. It's a quote of the night.
Heck yeah. For history for the savvy head, you can go around and let's see. Oh, gosh, this is always very confusing. Okay. So now, Miguel, you will ask the rest of the characters, which of you is the most strange?
Define strange. That's tough.
Yeah, I guess. Well,
That's a good answer.
Who wants to volunteer themselves as being the strange one?
Or which one does Miguel think is the most strange?
I think.
I was gonna volunteer for that one. That feels like a pretty clear one.
Go for it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it would,
go for it.
it
I
would
think it's-
either be
Well, I don't know.
you or Pierce.
Well, actually, the hocus is probably pretty fucking strange too.
You can
Yeah.
select a couple of people for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't you?
You
ask
really
that
got to be
question?
careful who the one who's on the shrooms thinks is the strange, you know?
They might be perceiving something others don't.
You're so straight, man. Don't understand you.
Well, I'm going to go with who.
Locked up.
All right.
Okay.
Who it is?
And put a +1 on them. You understand who a little bit more just because you're interested in strange things and strange people. And now I think you should ask yourself as the savvy head, which of these characters is the biggest potential problem? And I've got a couple of opinions on that, but I'd like to hear what y'all say.
Oh. Well, I think Trout would be a potential big problem.
All right.
Because cult leaders they never end up well.
But they do.
Not for everybody.
They will buy a lot of stuff from you. That's good, right?
they will. But
Got to keep them in line somehow. And now we all inhale.
and the things that I sell him may or may not do exactly what I tell him they will do.
Well, go ahead and add +2 to your history with Trout.
Okay.
And then for all the other characters, you get a -1. As a savvy head, you're usually nose deep in your mycelium, and don't care about uninteresting people.
Accurate.
So you get a -1 to your history with everybody else. Get Trout up to 2.
I probably do show up in your lab periodically without invite.
I was gonna say, yeah, with all the warrens and shit he's got in there,
Yeah.
you probably just look over and there she sits in the corner. The fuck did you come from?
And she's very inquisitive, so I would certainly welcome her
Yeah.
in.
What are you doing now?
All right. Cool. That's history for
Miguel?
That's history for Miguel. Everyone else -1. We'll just leave that in notes quick. All right. We'll go to Pierce. The questions as the battle babe are.
So it's like basically I ask everyone, can I trust you?
Okay, go and ask people who you ask.
I ask everyone, can I trust you?
My response is an absolute yes.
All right. That's -1.
I'm not surprised.
Where are you? What do I have?
You have to put them you have to manually enter them.
Oh.
You can enter them later if you want to.
All right.
It's interesting. It says you are indifferent to what is safe and drawn to what is not. So it seems Pierce views Fingers as truly a healer and nothing more sinister.
Trout, I do not trust Trout. I'm sorry.
You're saying no to that.
Oh, boy.
Can I trust you?
Trust me to do what?
So no.
It utterly depends on what you're asking, wouldn't you say?
So the answer is no.
Miguel, can I trust you?
If you come to me looking for remedies, I will never give you anything that will harm you.
I think that's a yes.
Yeah, I think it's a yes.
I do. Okay.
Hippocratic oath is a rare thing in these times.
And then Smokey, I trust.
He's like the Google do no harm.
Smokey tells you not to trust him, but he's never done anything to show you any reason not to.
Well, in that case,
About as honest of a con man as
I'm
you
drawn to what I can't trust. I'm like, how can I trust that? But
I feel like in many
Can I
ways,
trust you? Yeah. No.
I think in many ways that you and I sort of work with each other, sort of like through the shoehorn. We're on each side of like a shoe horse kind of thing. Where like there's all these people in between us that connect us, but we don't ever connect. We live in that kind of different world where have you ever been to like in that group of friends where you always have the people that show up and you don't know how in the world that they always seem to be at that party, but they're not your friends.
But you know them.
But you might not even talk to them, very much. Considering I call you NPC, I'm assuming you and I have ever sat and bonded and chatted.
No, they haven't had a connection moment yet. It is interesting that Pierce doesn't trust Smokey and Trout and yet is drawn to them and works as a bouncer at their establishment, perhaps to keep an eye on them?
Well, yeah. I mean, he's drawn to. It's like, basically.
It is the place to be.
Yeah.
And Smokey, let's go over your history with everyone.
Mine are pretty simple. Straightforward. They are, let's see. My two questions are, which of you, all the characters, do I find the most attractive? The first, that one's going to be Trout. He's just got the most actual attractiveness, and his persuasion over his masses.
He is physically ugly, but the charisma is undeniable.
Yeah.
He's Mick Jagger.
Yeah, that's a good example. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got moves like Jagger and a face like Jagger.
And the second question is, what is
which one of you is my favorite? For that character, I have a +2 to my history. So Trout's got a +2.
Well, since I would say me, because I'm the one who heals all the people that gets killed in your establishment
So
or get knocked down.
Well, it is a virtual reality fight, but I'm sure there are injuries.
Well, there are people who start fights in the bars outside the virtual reality, and they don't get.
And then get some hospitality.
Yeah.
The people that Pierce sends your way from my establishment. Yeah.
I'm
Okay, but then we got-
picturing like somebody coming over and grabbing me by the cuff. Something's happened. Come here. I
Is it
need
the
your help.
arcade
Quick.
again?
It's like
The governor's son or something got walloped, and one of the brothers, Noah and Charles, somebody there know.
Smokey turns to Pierce, goes, "Yeah, he needs hospitality." Then he turns to find fingers because there's blood spraying on the walls. You go fix that.
All right.
And my other history question is, which one of you is my favorite? And it's Pierce.
Nice.
Starting off the mass with Pierce, and then you have +3 to history with me.
Ooh.
And then everybody else gets +1 because it's my business to know about you.
Nice. That's cool.
Ooh, you even know about me, huh? Alrighty.
All right.
How about you, weird child?
And then I suppose I will ask the history questions for Trout. You've heard about Trout's ability to wire up the arcade. He's a genius with computers, and his cult of personality, the fish heads, follow him around with a fanaticism because they think he is the next best thing, and they devote themselves to him and to recruiting other people to join their group. So the question that Trout has for all of you is, which of you are my followers?
No.
Probably not.
Nobody is his follower. Interesting.
How weird is he?
Ben?
What's his weird?
Oh, his weird is +3. He took fucking Whacknut to get extra weird. So he is as weird as a character can get.
All right, I'm a follower.
Okay.
So if we all know who done it.
All right. The second question. The second question is for one of you. I've seen your soul. Which one?
Oh, that should be Smokey, I think.
I think it should be too.
That's
That makes
cool.
sense.
That's cool.
That's why he uses you as a front.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And even though I'm not a follower, like I'm pretty tied to Trout's entire operation because of that bit of history, I think.
Okay. All right. And then for everybody else, Trout gets a +1.
Yeah, who knows no other religion? That is the only religion that makes any sense and she's ever heard of.
Interesting. Miguel, Pierce, and Fingers. The Hocus is also a good and quick judge of people, so he gets +1 to history with Miguel, Pierce, and Fingers. Okay. So that is history. That we will highlight stats at the beginning of session 1 once we're all here. Highlighting those stats, basically whoever you know the best, whoever you have the highest hex with, you ask them to highlight one of your stats. So when we highlight each one, we'll have a stat highlighted by the person they know the best. And then I, as the master of ceremonies, will highlight another one of your stats, and then we will go from there. So we have wrapped up our character and our character creation and are going around for history. Now we are going to get into the fiction. We're going to get into the Dronelands. So we don't really know what time it is exactly anymore. The only ones who keep exact track of the time are the drones. They buzz in the night, they prowl outside the wire and loom over the horizon. Metal bastards from another time, with no brains and no hearts. Us, we're scattered all over the place. Little villages like ours, like Greenhill, we scrounge for scrap for people worth their salt. for reasons to give a shit. We, guys like Lightbulb Larry, they thrive in this shit. Gangs like the Chop Ducks, they make their barter with it. And freaky fucks like Sidewinder, well, he toys with radio. Blasphemy. Stupid. The drones, they can hear any signal, and they mean death. We had to build new machines, dumb ones that can't be affected by the botnet. See, the drones just about own the land. They own all the signals, too. We're lucky most of us can't hear it. That inhuman noise, the chatter of drones. Our story begins in the central United States, or what is left of the United States. We see rolling hills, we see forests. The greenery is strangely untouched by the apocalypse here. The drones find no use for plants. We see ruined highways. We see decaying billboards with men with arms stretched wide like they once wanted to own it all. But now the drones own it all, and that man is dead, and his money means nothing. Our hardhold here owns its existence to a system of electrical traps and sacrificial aluminum bait, the wire that keeps us safe from the bite bots. Otherwise, everything we built would be eaten by drone swarms within a month. Leaving here is tough. The elders are very strict on that. Only a few get to go beyond the wire and be welcomed back. But despite the bite bots and the repos and the bandits and the gangs and the prospectors, I don't know. There's got to be something better for us humans past the Dronelands. We see one such survivor in the middle of the night in her underground hideout. The child thing who lives in a cave tiled with hundreds of dead smartphones. Warren's tunnels that go every which way. No one is able to keep Who out. And on this night, Who, you are hiding from the wolves of the maelstrom in your safe place. The smartphones, though you hear a slight whisper on the edge of your consciousness sometimes, you believe they keep you safe. But on this night, it's not the whispering, it's not the drones you hear. You hear from above the rumble of engines. What do you do?
Oh, the machines. The machines are above. They're moving. Moving in their which way? In the way they do. Where do I go? I am still learning the system quite a bit. But I'm gonna definitely try to hide.
Okay. You are pretty well hidden. The most basic rule I can tell you about Apocalypse World is to do it. Essentially, roleplay what you have your character do, and especially once we get into the main game, I may railroad you a little bit. I may push a move on you, but essentially, do what you want to do, and when I say that sounds like a move, then I will have you roll.
All right. So she hears the rumbling moving overhead, and she knows that means that they can't likely hear or see her directly, though she knows that they sometimes can see through other senses. But she's going to move against the walls in an opposite direction that she thinks that they're going. If they're going if they're going northeast, she's heading southwest, and she's going to try to stick to the walls, stick to those phones that keep her safe, and just sort of keep her as quietly as she can, slither through her terrain that she knows oh so well, moving southwest away from the direction the machines are going.
Away from the machines.
Yes.
Okay.
They're the wolves after all. I'm moving away from them.
You're not quite sure what that sound is actually. I'd like you to go ahead and roll reading a situation. I'd like you to go ahead and roll plus cool.
All right.
Sharp.
Plus sharp, I'm sorry. Read a sitch. You go ahead and roll me plus sharp.
All right. Rolling now. Oh. Do I have any forward, help, or interference?
No.
Plain 0.
No, help and interference will come from people helping you, and forward, certain things say take one forward. They will be from buffs from like items and situations.
Oh yeah. Like if somebody paid for my meal ahead of time, you don't have to drive through.
Yeah, pay it forward.
Wow, that was a low roll.
Unfortunately. Okay.
Rolled a 1.
Couple. Well, I rolled
That's a miss.
2 and a 1.
Anything under a 9 or lower is a miss. So, read a situation has keep those handy. Read a situation has several questions. When you miss, you still get to ask one, but be prepared for the worst. So,
Like bowling. This is awesome.
you can ask, and I should pull up lists of these.
It might be handy if everybody has easy reference for the basic moves available too.
Yes, they are available in the basic ref book, but I will read them as follows. You can ask me one of these. What's my best escape route, way in or way past? Which enemy is the most vulnerable to me? Which enemy is the biggest threat? What should I be on the lookout for? What is my enemy's true position? Or who's in control here? You can ask me one of those questions and, be prepared for the worst.
All right. Well, I'm going to play it close to what I was trying to do, which is sort of escaping what I thought was the danger. So I'm going to say, what's my best escape route?
Okay. Your best route is, in fact, the tunnel behind you. Your hair stands on end. You see one tunnel that gives you pause, and you pick another one that seems safe. This is one that heads towards the Warrens you know to be connected to the arcade in Greenhill, a little away from your hideout entrance.
Yes, some familiar faces might be nice right now too. I'm going that way. I'm going this way. Here we go.
You start to move out of your hideout and through the bolt holes that connect it to all of your little secret spots, and you hear behind you the sound of a man, the sound of boots. You hear an engine stop, and you hear through the tunnel you felt a dangerous presence from. You hear, what the hell's all this? The hell are these? And you keep running. You keep running.
Somebody's found my den.
Pierce. We go to Pierce. You are, as the battle babe, you must take night duty sometimes. You defend the arcade during the day. You're kind of in the charge of Smokey, the establishment owner. But tonight you pulled the short straw. You are up all night on guard duty, patrolling outside the wire. You are to the northwest of Greenhill. You're on your regular patrol route, and so far everything is fine. You have a small flashlight provided to you by Lightbulb Larry for this. He provides them to the guards, but he expects them to be handed back. You didn't barter him for that. But on this same night, you as well, you hear it a little more clearly up on the surface on your patrol route. You hear the sound of multiple engines. Small engines going very quickly. It is the middle of the night. You're out in the woods on patrol. What do you do?
I'm going to try and ascertain which way they're headed and try and get in front of them, or just find out where they're going, or where I think they might be going.
Okay. I think that may be a read a situation as well. So go ahead and roll me plus sharp for now.
What did I do with the sheet? Oh, there it is. Plus sharp?
Yep.
8.
Just barely missed it. It's 10 or higher to win.
Oh, I
right?
succeeds partially.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So, on a partial success, go ahead and ask me one of those previous questions. I'm sure you may be interested in what is my enemy's true position, or which enemy is most vulnerable.
That's
What is
exactly
my
what I was
enemy's
doing.
true position? Okay.
Very predictable.
Just
That's
a
all.
moment. Pierce. Okay. You learn your enemy's true position. You hear. Just gonna check direction. You hear to the northwest, away from the hardhold, approaching from the east. You hear multiple motorcycles. There's a clearing to the east. You can take up a position in the woods. The motorcycles draw closer, and you come all of a sudden, bursting out of the tree line is a man on a motorcycle. This thing is aggro. It's spiky. This dude's got a baseball bat. And there is an antenna on the back of this motorcycle. What do you do, Pierce?
I'm going to go aggro.
Okay.
You didn't even ask him questions or anything.
He said it was aggro.
right.
That's
This,
a threat.
This is a shoot
Okay.
first,
It's
ask
a threat.
questions later type guy.
Okay. Okay.
This sounds like a
Do battle.
this would be a do battle roll. If we were going aggro, I suppose.
Although you said go aggro, so there's things you can do there. You can force your hand and suck it up. You can cave and do what you want. You can.
Okay. So what do you?
They have to choose.
What do you do? Do you call out to the threat, or do you simply start shooting?
I simply start. Simply, depending
right.
on how close they are. If they burst out,
It's dark and they're moving very quickly. You are within close range before you spot them.
Oh boy.
then I'm-
Close range being one of the 4 ranges here. There's far and close for ranged combat, and then hand and intimate. Right now,
Okay.
you're close to this motorcyclist.
out comes a pistol and
All right. Well, that's going to be a battle move. All right. So go ahead and roll me. Is that a single combat or a?
Changing harm.
Yeah. You will exchange harm. Okay.
but when I go aggro, I use cool instead.
Awesome. Okay. Sweet. Exchange harm. You will exchange harm with this guy, but you will first roll plus hard, because we're calling this single combat at the moment. It's just one guy on a motorcycle so far. So
Wait,
roll
don't you
me
count
plus
as a-
hard, please.
Don't you count as a small militia though?
Not
yeah.
Pierce.
Okay. Why is
There was an option that Pierce maybe could have. I don't know if the Battle Babe gets it. The Gunlugger might get it, but either way, Pierce does not have the counts as a small gang. Okay.
Why do
So
and I-
partial success.
So I can't use cool for this
Can't you use cool instead of hard? You get to use cool instead of.
because of icy.
As Icy, this is a battle move. So when you go aggro on an NPC, roll plus cool instead of plus hard. And then when you. Okay.
Okay, I'm
so
having trouble distinguishing the difference between it, aggro and battle.
yeah, we can just real quick the. Sorry. The basic moves are listed in a couple of different places, but they don't have all of the information in the same spot sometimes. Okay. So going aggro on someone is basically using a threat of violence to get what you want. However, if you attack someone unsuspecting, that's a sucker someone. If you're already in battle, and this guy is prepared for battle, he's raiding your asses, then it becomes a do battle move.
Okay.
So in this case, because think of it this way: you're in the dark, you haven't said anything.
That's true.
You're relying on just your hand, not your coolness.
Yeah, you haven't intimidated
your
him. You haven't
ability.
gone. Yeah, I'm thinking of like Fonzarelli. You know, he always is like, "Hey."
Yeah, when you make yourself known and try to use that. Oh gosh, it's a miss. Okay.
You rolled a 1 in there too.
TPK, no.
Zach will be the only survivor. Zach, I hope your family's doing all right, but you may be the only one who survives this.
Well, okay. We are still kind of in setup scenes, so just a moment.
He'll probably live.
On a miss, so in single combat, if you succeed, you get to do both of these. If you get a mixed success, you do one. And since you missed, I get to choose. The choices are you inflict terrible harm or you suffer little harm. And I'm going to go ahead and say this guy attempts to inflict terrible harm on you. Oof. So, Sidewinders gang, never mind. This gang deals +2 damage. They do 2 harm, and by inflicting terrible harm, this guy's going to do 3 harm. He takes that baseball bat, and he's going to swing it at you like he's going to cleave your head off in a cavalry charge.
You have armor?
I do.
Your armor takes 2 points of that.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, you're good thing you have 2 armor. I have no armor.
What weapon are you using here?
This would be, well, did he close the distance?
Well, you spotted him at close range.
I was at close range.
He's closing the distance to hand, so I suppose you're in range to use either one in this situation.
Well, in that case, my blade's coming out.
The chain?
All right.
Chain blade?
Chain blade.
You stand there, you meet his cavalry charge with a bladed chain. How much harm do you do?
3.
3 harm. With that bladed chain, you rip the man from his motorcycle. It falls. It crashes into the brush. He is quite harmed.
Don't you have to roll to hit him or anything? How does that work? I'm just
when the rules say harm is exchanged, this is one of those games where sometimes harm just happens.
Okay.
So they exchanged harm. They both dealt 3 damage to themselves, to each other.
But he had armor.
But you have armor.
So he only had 1, and
both of them. He's got 2 armor, so he takes 1 harm.
Okay. Does the NPC have 2 armor as well?
Yeah, NPC.
The NPC has 1 armor, so he takes 1 harm.
2.
Yes, he takes 2.
Okay. Got it.
It is not an immediate fatal wound, but you did knock him off that machine. There's a move called when you take harm. It sort of adds another dimension other than just a numerical HP. So when you suffer harm, roll plus the harm suffered. So roll +1. 2d6 +1, or click a stat that's +1. There may even be a suffer harm move.
Roll high this time.
On
Let's see what
the
happens
sheet.
when you actually roll high. Hey, you did it. You rolled high.
All right, 11, 12.
12. Beautiful.
Okay. However, it
That might not be good.
isn't okay.
It
It isn't good. You add the harm. So yeah, on a 10 plus, I get to choose 1. You're out of action, unconscious, trapped, incoherent, or panicked. It's worse than it seemed. Take an additional 1 harm.
Oh no.
Or choose 2 from the list below. There are choices in here like losing footing, losing grip on things, losing track of stuff, missing important details. So when you take harm, things can get worse as well, put you in a worse situation. There's also a chance that you take 0 harm and bad stuff still happens, or you deal 0 harm and you still inconvenience your opponent. So that's the harm
Lose
move.
their keys. That would be inconvenient.
Especially if the engine's running.
But
Look, you need this.
yeah, with the +1 to that, and the unfortunately the harm roll is the one you don't want to roll high on.
Yeah.
So I'm going to choose that you're out of action. I was gonna do this to you anyways, so it's cool. You whip him. but you know, I think you take the bike straight to your chest. You hit a tree. You hit the back of your head. You go unconscious. As you're fading out, you see 5, 6, 10 more bikes. You lose track of your opponent. Your vision goes dark. And we will find what happens to you in a moment.
I'm just picturing
We'll
you
find
have
what happens to you
tire mark up, up your entire your armor.
in a moment. Okay. It is the morning. A chaotic night has happened. The sound of engines fade away into the distance. Anybody in the northwest of Greenhill could hear it. We are going to go to our map. The next morning, after the sound of engines faded away, after the raid on Greenhill came to a close, we see Fingers, a very strange-looking man with dark hair and a healing touch. You've taken up residence at an old church, still standing thanks to a stone construction. You've turned it into a sort of a workplace. It's not entirely to your liking quite yet, but it'll do for now. Fingers, you are at the church, and you have just been the unconscious body of Pierce has just been delivered to your door by the morning guard. They pound on the door.
Hold on.
Hey, it's Benchy. Hey, it's Benchy. I got your armored guy. I found Pierce on the ground out there. Somebody hit him in the face really hard. Angel, we need you.
I'll click over. I'm assuming it's kind of some kind of lock and mechanism on the door. I lift it up.
Yeah, it's a big heavy latch.
Yeah. I pull the door, pull it in. I look at it. I see the unconscious body of Pierce, and I say, does this come from Smokey?
No, we found him out northwest. We got hit. I just brought him here straight away.
I look over him. I go, looks like a 255 by 8 dinar.
Yeah, there's a big tire track on Pierce's armor.
I don't know what motorcycle tires are, but that's hilarious. All right, I go, fine, bring him in. What? I walk over and I just kind of push over the stuff on the table. Whatever's on the table just gets shoved off to the floor. You hear it kind of crashing. And I put him here. He doesn't look good, does he?
No. In fact, Pierce, you can. Is there something on your sheet? We are going to have to go ahead and put you at 9 o'clock.
You're 9 o'clock.
You took a big hit to the head.
Maybe a couple extras.
Maybe, yeah. You don't know what happened to you while you're unconscious, but you were at. You've checked 3 harm boxes. You're at 9 o'clock. You will get worse without the help of Fingers here. Fingers, are you going to? Would you like to try to help return Pierce to the land of the living?
Well, since this is a pregame, I suppose I have to. I'm teasing. What do we got, go? Right? It looks like he was smacked around a little bit. All right. I'll look down at him, and what do I need to do to try to do some to tend to his wounds?
Okay. As an angel, you have an angel kit. It is basically a stock of medical supplies. It starts at a stock of 6. And to use it to stabilize and heal somebody at the 9 o'clock mark on their harm or past that, roll plus stock spent. On a hit, which is a 10 plus, they stabilize and heal, and you get to choose 2 from a list of boons, which might be good for you. You'll find this in the angel kit list.
Got it. So depending on how much stock I use, that's the benefit I have to my 2d6 roll.
Yes. Yeah. Instead of rolling plus a stat, you will roll plus stock spent.
Oh, it's not plus stock plus a stat.
No, it's so if I spend 2 stock, he gets a +2 to his roll. NPC. I don't know if I should spend that much to you, but I do owe Smokey a few favors, and I'm sure he would be really happy to have you back.
Just live to suffer.
You see Benchy after he dropped off. After he dropped off Pierce's unconscious form, you see Benchy took off sprinting. He's a tough guy. He's one of the farmers out there. He took off at a dead sprint back for the gate. The guy looks pale, scared.
I look at him as he runs away, scared, and I'm like, and I lean in and I whisper into Pierce's ears, and I go, looks like you took a lot of damage there. I bet it hurt like a bitch. Let's see how much more they can do to you. And I'm gonna try to heal him. I'm gonna use 3 of my resources.
3. Oh my gosh. Okay. Go ahead and roll plus
so
3.
It's 2d6
plus 3. Yes.
And higher is better in this game, right?
In this case, yes, unless you're taking harm.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, my 12 is.
Oh, all the ones today. Wow, everybody's rolling ones.
Kind of 7 though.
Ufta, that is a 7.
That is 7 total. That is 2d6. I rolled a 4 plus 3 is 7. Everybody's rolling ones.
But that is a mixed success on a 7 to 9. So you choose, they stabilize and heal to 6. So we'll move Pierce's harm back down to 6 o'clock. You are no longer, you're stabilized. You're no longer getting worse over time, Pierce. You'll wake up, you'll hurt, but you're not dying. And then you, Fingers, will get to make a choice. Just a moment. I should post these.
Good choice on the 3 there. The 2 would not have done it.
There's something weird in the font here. That's they, and that's a H instead of an S. That's very strange. I'll find better.
It does. It has a weird way, and when you copy stuff from that PDF, it doesn't like the F's and there's another letters it doesn't like. It must be the font that they used.
Strange.
So
I'll get
pain
that
and
worked
drugs
out.
make them.
But yes, you get to make a choice. The pain and drugs can babble truth to you. They respond really well. You can get one of those stock back if you want to be efficient, or
I'm taking a stock back.
Mean.
I'm taking a stock back.
Okay,
I got you stable. You'll be back.
You don't need this.
okay. You find the treatment is good. This isn't the first time you've had to stitch up Pierce. Pierce, you awaken on the table of Fingers once again in the healer's church.
I'm leaning over on my elbow, drinking some tea. I go as you pop her head up. I'm just kind of waiting for you. I smile at you. Go, anything sore? You got a little injury there?
You're suffering a broken rib, and your brain is still quite foggy, Pierce.
Oh, I'm on the wrong person. Yeah. It just gets up. Motorcycles. What happened?
Does your head hurt? Does it hurt bad?
Yeah, it hurts bad. He took a bat to my skull. What do you think?
So the motorcycles are still out there. I yell. And I go,
Oh man.
and I just laugh. And I go, I kind of tap onto your armor. I go, don't move.
Yeah, he was getting up to go back out.
You don't move. The motorcycles are still out there, and they'll run over you again. Although that could be entertaining as fuck, I think you might want to have a seat.
So Fingers proceeds to make sure that Pierce is going to be okay. As sadistic as Fingers is, they're a professional and are going to make sure that Pierce is in fact getting better. Now, for a moment, we see the inside of the arcade. Down in the southwestern part of Greenhill is what's called the trade zone. The elders of Greenhill, Charles and Noah, have set aside this area as open to non-residents. The rest of the hill is gated off. They control who resides there. But here in the trade zone, people can come and go. And the odd caravan or survivor rolling in will see the arcade as one of their first landmarks in Greenhill. The inside of the arcade is the hastily sketched. The arcade itself refers to a cage fighting ring in the center of this warehouse space. On the walls, computers flash and beep. Everything is wired in huge bundles towards the centerpiece of this installation. The arcade itself, it's where young men and women fight virtually instead of physically.
What do they call that? A Tesla cage? Is that what I'm thinking?
Oh, saying like a Faraday cage.
A Faraday cage?
Yeah.
Faraday cage.
Yeah.
Not quite a full Faraday cage. It appears to have been built off of the remains of an old boxing ring.
Just
But
saying
what
it's
happens
wired,
here?
so you wouldn't need any wireless signal emanation at all.
What happens here is fully wired virtual reality fights. The virtual reality side is displayed on screens for crazed fans, but today the arcade, which serves drinks and acts as a saloon for the residents of the trade zone. Today the mood is not great. There are whispers amongst your clientele, Smokey. There are the two groups of people, the residents of Greenhill and the followers of Trout. Some of your residents call them fish heads, and some of them have taken the term for their own. They are more divided this time. There's a tension, and Smokey, you hear a young woman, a flighty resident named Emma, screaming at one of Trout's followers. She says, "You did this. You brought him here. The wire's dead because of you freaks, and now there's nowhere to run." And the follower goes, "Hey man, it's fine. Just join the club. You'll all be protected. Trout's got it. It's totally fine." And you see Emma just goes to swing at this guy. Oh shit, she's got a shiv. Pierce, Smokey, you're watching this. What do you do?
Smokey, well, Pierce is not around right now for this. I guess he's kind of messed up over there. But so
Pierce
Smokey,
is fucked up. You're on your own here.
Smokey, seeing this whole interaction start to pop off and do that, he as soon as voices start getting raised, he's put together a drink and he's headed over. Before she starts to swing around, he wants to try to step in between, hand her a drink, tell the fish head, "Hey, why don't you go set some music going, get the mood lightened." And he hands Emma a drink and says, "This one's on the house. How about we sit down for a while?"
To slip in there, I think that's going to be a act under fire, and the fire is you're stepping in between a knife fight, wearing a suit. She's flailing, screaming. So go ahead and roll me a plus cool for a act under fire.
I get to substitute hot instead.
Go ahead and roll hot then.
He's like so good looking, charming.
Oh,
It's like Lucifer.
9, partial success.
roll.
Partial success on do something under fire.
Nice.
Okay. On a 7 to 9, you flinch, hesitate, or stall. I can offer you a worse outcome, a hard bargain, or an ugly choice.
He did offer free drinks, and that's definitely stalling. That sounds pretty good.
Okay. Here is your hard choice. You've got your drinks together. You're just a moment too late to stop the knife fighting. You can intercede. One of these fish head guys is going to get stabbed, or you might have to take a knife cut for him. What do you do?
I'll take the cut myself.
Wow, look at you.
Holy
When I
crap.
step in, my like the jewel that's embedded into my mechanical finger kind of flashes as the armor kicks up.
Okay. You're going to take 2 harm from this shiv.
To 1.
You're 6
Minus
o'clock.
1. Okay,
have
this
armor?
minus 1, it'll only take you. He has a piece of fashion worth 1 armor, an old world piece of tech. Basically, the fashion worth 1 armor doesn't look like armor, unlike armor worth 1 or 2. So essentially, he's got a hidden armor that he can hide sort of socially. And it's a
wearing a
small
cup.
bit of.
Yes.
He's scavenged a small bit of old world tech that has a protective field. It may or may not have been part of the latest generation of reactive tank armor before tanks became obsolete. But either way, go ahead and roll me +1 for your taking harm move, because you're getting stabbed here. Real fun.
On this sheet.
This is where you want to roll low.
This is where you want to roll low.
Taking harm.
Yeah, I rolled fucking 12.
And then
I
it's
guess
just
for
+1.
popping off.
There you go.
What'd we get?
Ooh,
A 6.
good.
That's a miss. On a miss, the Master of Ceremonies can nevertheless choose something from the 7 to 9 list. But if I do that, it is instead of some of the harm you're suffering.
Why does he sound excited about this?
I know, this is good. Right? You
I don't
should.
know. I think it's cooler. You take 1 point of harm. You mark the 3 o'clock. But yeah, you stand there with a knife in your shoulder, and what do you say to Emma, who has realized she's just stabbed the establishment owner and backs away a little shocked?
I still hand the drink over, and I gesture towards a nearby booth, and I say, "I think maybe you should have a seat and cool off." He pulls the knife from his shoulder and pockets it.
Damn.
You
Go
got a
ahead
knife
and
now?
roll me a seduce or manipulate.
Nice.
The
8.
I'm just learning the story beats of this.
Okay.
It's very interesting. Yeah.
The partial success on succeed or manipulate. Just a moment. I will be making some better quick reference for myself. But basic moves, seduce or manipulate. Yeah. Tell them what you
just-
want them to do. You did. Give them a reason. You should cool off. Roll plus hot. Partial success. On a 7 to 9, choose 1. If they, no, this is NPCs. They will go along with you, but they will need some concrete assurance, collaboration, or evidence first. Oh, corroboration, yeah.
Corroboration, yeah. She might be worried.
So, yeah, they need something. She's going to need something from you.
Got it.
Got a drink.
She get a drink.
All right, yeah. I'll say that's
Still giving
corroboration.
that over after being stabbed is quite.
That's
common.
assurance. Yeah.
I like that.
That's actually pretty cool. That's
Yeah. All right. With the drink, she looks like she's going to want to fight again, but she's got a drink, and she's had a drink here before, and she knows she really shouldn't spill this. And you see the fight leave her. You see her shoulders slump, her back hunch, and she walks to the booth.
If she cares to keep paying attention to me, she'll notice I take a small journal out of my breast pocket
Oh,
and
no.
write her name in it.
Do you use your blood from the? You go like,
From the tip of the knife.
and then you pass out because you've lost too much blood.
She's now my worst regular.
You only able to write half her name, so then you get some more blood.
Yeah.
And trade Ma.
It's like Sideshow Bob. He used to write threatening letters just to to Bart
The
Simpson.
Ba-
And
the
he
Bart Z.
casts out, and the guy's like, "Use a pen, Bob." We'll start calling you
Okay.
Sideshow Smokey.
So they went around. She went along with them, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. We'll take the corroboration as the drink was a very good way to get her to sit down.
So it says if they go along with you, they mark experience.
There's different rules for when you seduce or manipulate a player character.
Okay.
So whenever manipulative stuff like this happens with player characters, basically you can either do it or refuse. But if you do it, you get experience.
Got it. So this is NPC. There's no that doesn't apply. Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is an NPC. So the first one was just she needed something else to
Cooling off in a
convince her.
booth.
Mhm.
Great.
And now she's on the shit list. Sorry, Emma. Yeah, Smokey, you return to your morning duties in the establishment, but the tensions are still very, very high because, as you've heard and you hear everything, the wire is down.
Oh,
Edge.
It is not down, but partially destroyed. I'm going to put our first publicly visible clock up in the top right. So this is a clock for the destruction of the wire. In Apocalypse World, I will be making these little clocks to keep track of things. And up here, you will see that the progress to destruction is at 3 o'clock. When this clock hits midnight, that means the wire is totally destroyed. But right now, there's a big hole in it. It's not getting worse, but it's
same
leaving
damage
you
rules.
exposed.
So
Similar
Okay,
similar
so-
damage rules, except it will not take damage like a PC or an NPC. This is essentially an event clock. Certain things you do can wind it back or forward until it hits 9, and then you can only save it from getting worse.
yeah.
But yeah, that is our scene at the arcade this morning. Miguel, you have awoken in whatever mind state Miguel is at sunrise.
Jimmy Long with hair.
You awaken in your mycelium laboratory to the familiar smells that others find absolutely appalling sometimes. And this day, there's something off. You feel something strange. You feel the sense of a pressure getting closer. But before you can really meditate on what the heck that means, you hear shouting from outside your mycology lab. You hear a voice you recognize as Lightbulb Larry, and he is so hunched and so bent that it is odd to hear him outside, but he is coming this way. And you hear him going, "The lights, 3 lights, 3 lights are out, 3 lights are out, no one must know, no one must know. 3 lights." You hear him banging on a pot. 3 lights are out, and you hear somebody, "It's Larry," in the distance as this man's making an absolute ruckus. And he's sort of approaching the street that your building is on. What do you do?
Go to the door and I open it up and I look out and see him making all this fuss, and then I'll go out to him. Larry, what's happened?
You see it takes a second for his clouded eyes to register your presence, and when they do, he holds a bright flashlight to your face. Miguel! There's 3 lights, 3 red. He lowers it a little. 3 red lights on the system. The wire. 3 red lights. 3 down.
Are they damaged?
That's what the wires say.
Well, can we just replace the lights then?
Yeah.
Or are there too few of us?
The wires said. The wires. The betrayal.
You just
This
The
man-
wire is damaged.
This man is not a great talker on a good day, and you can tell he's terribly distressed. So Miguel, could you roll me a read a person, please? Roll me plus sharp.
Okay, partial success. 8.
Ooh.
Okay. Okay. So this asks you to, on a 7 to 9, hold 1. Hold basically means you've gained a temporary resource to use later, and what read a person says is hold 1, and then while you're interacting with them, you get to ask one of these questions. It says spend your hold. So you're holding 1 on read a person, and during this conversation, you can ask him one of these questions. Is your character telling the truth? What's your character really feeling? What does your character intend to do? What does he wish I would do? And how could I get your character to do something? So you have 1 hold. You can ask one of those. But Lightbulb Larry isn't going to stick around for too long. He shines the flashlight at the ground and goes, I must tell Charles there's a traitor.
What can I do to help?
Okay, so if you're asking,
What does your character wish I do?
oh, okay. Miguel, Larry really wishes you would Larry really wishes you would help with this electricity situation. You're not 100% sure why he's talking about a traitor, but Larry needs your help with this, and Larry's the electronics expert, so you know Larry's in a bind. And he's headed towards the Elder's Manor.
Maybe you mix him up a little something so he talks a little straighter. Here, take this.
Make a little calming brew.
No, he needs an accelerant.
But
He needs some Adderall. Speed.
That Bob Larry doesn't have the best eyesight. Maybe he's not sure what's going on.
interesting. It hasn't updated the token for Miguel, but you see Lightbulb Larry hobbling his way up towards the Elder's Manor, and you see Noah and Charles, the two elder brothers. These men are sort of venerated as the creators of this town. Brief sketch of Noah and Charles here. You know Noah to be more hardline about the rules. He's somewhat anti-technology. And you know Charles to be more concerned with the morale of Greenhill and accommodating people. He really wants to make this a place where people can come and thrive, not just hide from the drones. But you see both of them walking with purpose towards you and Lightbulb Larry. And they say, Larry, you're good, you're up. You see Noah says, Miguel, you're we're going to need you on this as well. Would you come with us? And Larry goes, there's a traitor. And Noah says, I know. We're going to go talk to them right now. And Charles says, no, there's no need to be so hasty. Everything is holding. And they say, Noah says, both of you come with us. We're going to the arcade. And I think as we see Pierce waking up to this commotion. Fingers, you finish your post-op stuff, Pierce is good to go out and kick ass and get his ass kicked again. And you both see the elders and a couple of interested citizens. You see Larry and Miguel following the elders down the hill towards the trade zone and the arcade. And they say, Noah says, Pierce, I'm gonna need you real soon. Can you fight? Are you good? What? You got hit out there.
And he can get hit out again.
I'm good.
Good, because there's no time to rest. And he says, "Come with us. We're solving this today." And Fingers, do you go with?
I'm not gonna miss this shit. This ought to be good. I kind of clean my hands of some of the mess that I needed to make to clean up and to heal you. And I kind of throw the just like a rag down, and I pick up some of my supplies. I sling them over my shoulder, and I kind of walk back. And as I watch them kind of walking, I kind of follow behind them at a safe distance, just so I can better see should like a mortar go off and blow a body up or something. It'll be just better visuals than if I'm standing.
Watch those humans blow up.
All right. Well, gosh, they need tokens, I guess. But yeah, you follow Noah and Charles. Noah determined, angry. Charles is worried. But both of them seem to realize the gravity of an outage in the wire and of the attack from last night. And we will end our session with just one final scene. We see the arcade, tents, breakfast, hushed words, two groups split on opposite sides of your dining room. Who you have made it through your boltways and passageways. You've snuck to your hiding spot at the arcade. You see through a crack in the wall, muttered conversations. Oh, what's gonna happen? And you see the entire room turn as Noah kicks open the door and goes, "Where's Trout? I want to talk to him." And that's where we'll end our introductory session.
That was pretty cool. That's cool narration. That story element of it is. Yeah, I'm liking it a lot.
It's very cool.
Yeah,
This is a cool game. I'm
this is
excited.
going to be fun.
Yeah. All right. Before we wrap the video, did anybody have how did it work? Do we think are the roles cool?
Very cool.
I'm just trying to follow like the questions, it's difficult. So I think I'll have to maybe print some sheets out. Let us know at home, I think that Erik is printing out some of the questions on the list over here. It might be difficult to read, because it is what it is, but
I will add cheat sheets for our different moves to the handouts section, so I can display those when we need them.
We'll put a link below
one.
to the free PDF that you can download for creating your characters, so that if you don't want to have to like do a Google search, you can just find them. How about that?
Or be old school. Just print them.
Yeah. And if you out there have played this game and you found ways to streamline a lot of the action here, leave a comment and let us know. Help us out here.
Yeah, please do. It's a very it is more of a niche game, but I think the mechanics are a lot of fun, and I'm really excited about this world and the weird and the wonderful weirdos we've created here, and I cannot overstate this enough. World-ending danger we're all in.
Yeah,
That's what I'm looking forward to.
that tracks.
All right.
All right. I do you feel like you wrapped up for today then, Erik?
I think so. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks a lot, everybody, for joining us. And that was really cool. We're all learning this game along with some of you, I'm sure. Do what Graham said. If you get the opportunity and you know some techniques to make this game more fun for everybody, just drop a message down below. We appreciate it. And then anybody else watching this will hopefully be able to read your comments. Next week, we will pick up with session 1 and it looks like we're all starting out at the Arc Cage. So until next time, we'll see you all later. And Zach, hope everything goes well for you. So talk to you later. Bye.
Bye for now.